What's up?
Game over.
What's up, people? This is your boy Level here back with another live at Level Gamers podcast.
And his name is John C.
And we got the whole crew here except for one or two. Hopefully, jump in. But I'm gonna let these dudes introduce themselves. This is episode 107. Started with my boy Captain America, the Black Captain America. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm back, guys. Had a family stuff taken care of, man. But I'm here today, ready for the topics at hand for a particular reason. You guys probably see in the title. You see why I'm excited today. But yeah, ready for a good podcast.
Okay. Mr. Optimus Prime. Are you there?
Optimus Prime's dead, so I'm not supposed to talk.
I haven't seen it yet, man. Don't ruin it for me.
Man, the movie was ruined when it was created, so.
I heard it's horrible.
You heard correct. I didn't even see it. No, you don't even deserve that. You need to play The Price is Right, Losing Horn or something like that. Wow.
That's funny.
Man.
No, I mean if you like special effects, if you like special effects and loud noises and all that type of stuff, Transformers is always going to be worth your money, I guess. But if you're a fan of the original series, then
and loud noises, that's funny.
Yeah.
Man. I guess it wasn't none of that. Anyway, this is the Live and Level Gamers podcast. We are back. We're ready to get it in. We're ready to do this. We have the crew in. Like I said, hopefully Mr. Norris is able to jump in. But right now, let's start off with what we normally start off with. What you've been gaming on. But before we do that, we was talking about Transformers. Without spoiling D2K, go ahead and talk about it, man. Give us some
No. I haven't seen it. Oh,
you haven't seen it? Okay.
No. And I don't plan to either.
Yeah, I plan on going to see it.
The next movie I plan to see is Homecoming next week. That's what I plan. That's what I'm on.
Yeah, that is next week.
Yep.
I'll be seeing both. I gotta see it, man. I gotta see it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do, man.
No, you don't.
I gotta see it.
Did you see did you see the other four? Turn it off. Turn it off.
Well, I'm just trying to set the mood,
No. It don't deserve no music. Turn that off. But you saw the other four?
I couldn't stand 4. I liked the first 3. 2 was one was good, 2 was 3 was good, 4 was horrible. I didn't like Mark Wahlberg. What is it? Wahlberg. Wahlberg. I didn't like him. I think they should have brought Sam Winky back, man. Should have brought Sam Winky back.
Make your dreams come true.
I don't have that one up. I don't have that one loaded.
No, man. The first one was legit. It was good. But the rest of them was hot. Could have kept all that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the first one was, the first one is like I never seen special effects like this before. I was geeked because it was a Transformers movie, and those of us who grew up in the 80s, we've been waiting for this for like 20-some years, and so you just kind of, the things that were wrong, you kind of said, okay, I'll deal with it. It's Transformers. It's Peter Cullen doing the voice of Optimus Prime.
Yep.
I'll grin and bear it. Then the second,
even Megatron was straight. I was cool with Mr. Smith doing Megatron. I was cool with that.
Yeah, I mean,
do it.
I didn't like the fact that you had Frank Welker on contract and you decided to put him, Hugo Weaving, against Megatron. I mean, that didn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
I mean, he eventually wound up becoming Megatron later in Galvatron, but still, You know, something like they just did that on purpose. Like they had Soundwave, and I think it was the third one.
Yeah.
And they had him talk like Soundwave, but they didn't use the vocoder, so it didn't really sound like Soundwave. It just sounded like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, which is the voice that Frank would use to do Soundwave. It was the same voice. They just put the vocoder in it that made it sound like Soundwave. But just to mess with the fans out there, let's not use this $20 vocoder that makes the voice sound cool.
Oh man. Yeah.
So yeah.
It was bad, man. But yeah, I'm still mad that the black guy, even in Transformer, died first. I don't know how we can get away from that. Jazz died first. I don't get it.
Oh, who? Eddie Winslow?
Yeah, Eddie Winslow, man. Jazz died first, man. Come on, only Transformer to die with the black guy. Come on, man.
I guess they got to keep the tradition alive.
Dang.
Even the Transformers, the black guy got to go first.
And those racist ones in the other one,
Yeah, you had the Crime Time robots in part the two, and you had the Devastator and his genitalia hanging down. And,
yeah, they could have kept all that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like. That's one of the main things I didn't like about 2. Was I didn't get none of that. That was all silly to me.
You had little robots running around humping on people, and had one girl that turned into a Transformer and didn't make any sense at all. There was no explanation as to why.
Yeah,
it was like, what's going on here?
Human skin robot, like that kind
of thing. Look, you guys have to stop with that music, okay?
No level.
Let's move on, man, because we all agree that it wasn't.
Nah, man, this whole podcast is about to be about flaming Transformers, bro. I overrule your.
Just do it.
They need to bring back Sam Wiki, man.
But you know what? It could have been right because Sam Witwicky, that's his name.
Witwicky.
Yeah, I mean that is Spike from the original cartoon series. That's his name in the cartoon series is Sam Witwicky, and the guy that had playing his father was a perfect cast for. Forgot what his father's name was on the cartoon, but you look at the cartoon and look at that guy like, man, he almost looking completely identical to this guy. But they just said we're just gonna mess with you. We're gonna get things kind of right and then go left when we don't have to. It was just
Sorry, bad memories, brother. Bad memories.
Yeah. I'm done. I don't want to talk about
that. Do your thing, Level. Do your thing, man.
I'm just waiting for y'all to be done. Okay, let's do our what you been gaming on. So I'll start with K-Bone 20. What you been gaming on, man?
Damn, what I've been gaming on? So, I've been gaming on. What am I gaming on? Look at my stuff, man. So I'm on this digital kick. So I got all my games are like digital. I hate Blu-rays now and putting disc in my system, and so all my games I play straight. Well, not all my games. I still got my games from GameFly. But other than that, man, I try to just buy them and play them digitally. I think it's just dope. So I've been gaming on. I've been playing actually a lot of The Witcher. To be honest, I'm trying to get through the main story, man. It's so rich, just so much going on, man. And we're gonna get to this in God of War, man. But what keeps bringing me back to this game is the story. Well, the gameplay is legit. I'm not gonna lie about that. But what keeps bringing me back to this game, and I'm like, for me, 60 hours into a game is just one game. Especially if it's not a multiplayer game. That's different. I can play those all day, like Madden and Call of Duties. Well, when they were good, but a single player game, I've never played a single player game this much. So this is a testament to how good this game is. So I've been doing that, trying to get to the end of that game. Still probably like 40 hours away, some crazy number. But I also been playing Tekken 7. Let y'all know, y'all boy Level has not challenged me to a match. I am ready to get some butt kicking on, but we haven't got it in yet, so we'll see how that goes. But I've been playing some Tekken 7, trying to get used to the game and how it works. Playing a little bit of I've been playing FIFA a lot too. That's playing the online version of that. When you're playing against people, I can play with my brother and some of my partners, and we can all play together and play against other humans. So it's pretty legit. Kind of like how I do NBA 2K. And also, I've been playing Overwatch. I just, kind of raged in Overwatch a couple of days ago. I almost stopped playing it. If it was a disc, I probably would have broke it, but it's digital, so I can't break anything.
What was that about?
Man, it's just people don't know how to play as a team, man. People play like individuals, and this is one of those games. If one person is not doing their job, the whole chemistry of the team can break down, and you will lose because of one person not doing their job or not being in the right position. And so it gets very, very irritating when people don't play as a team, want to play as a lone ranger. Like, it's not Call of Duty. Like, you will lose if that person is not if he's not killing people. He can be killing people and you'll still lose because he's not doing the job he's supposed to do. So
just like Bill Belichick says, do your job.
Do your job, man. Just do your job, brother. So I've been playing that, but today I had some good luck. Today, won some good matches. I kind of stepped off the ledge, and still playing a little bit 2K. So I have a rotation of games. I can't keep my eye on one game for too long, so I kind of rotate with video games. So that's what I'm gaming on. Yeah, that's it for me, Level. I know you stepped away.
Oh, I have my mic muted. Go ahead, D2K. What you been gaming on, bro?
You're the host, man. You gotta snap it up, dude.
Right.
It went on mute.
Yeah, I haven't really been gaming on that much. The only thing I really messed around with was that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite demo that came out. I played a little story mode on there. I don't want to talk too much about it here because I want to bring it up again later on the whole Capcom conversation. So I'll just leave my comments about it till then. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really played other than the normal stuff that I play, like my Halo and Halo Wars and stuff like that. Little emulators in the PC and stuff. I know people are geeked up. Well, I don't want to bring that up. That pretty sure that'll come up, so I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Okay. For me, I've been playing ARMS. Actually, I let my daughter play more than me. So if people thought I was getting my behind handed to me, it was really my daughter playing. But yeah, I played that.
No, it was you.
Man.
It was you.
It was my daughter, man.
Shame on you. Shame. Blaming your daughter for your own incompetence.
His daughter under the bus.
Get out of here with that, man.
Fuck yourself.
Anyway,
slap you. What I cue at? Slap you.
No, it was for real. It was my daughter playing, man. But I did lose one or two rounds, but most of that was my daughter. But I played that. I heard Capcom talking about I haven't jumped on that Tekken with him yet, and that is true. I really haven't been gaming much, man. Like I said, I played ARMS. Was that 2 days ago? But for the most part, I was going out of town. I went to a place called Holiday World, and me and my family was pretty much gone. And I didn't take my Switch with me, so I didn't get any real gaming in.
AKA, the wife told him to leave it at home.
No, she didn't. Right now, I don't have the case and all that stuff to protect it yet, so I don't be wanting to take it out because I don't have the stuff to put it in to make sure it's safe and not won't get broken.
But if this kind of like a amusement park resort type thing, or is it
Yeah, it's a music park and water park. And so of course
I mean, I wouldn't bring it either. I mean, it's family time, so playing to sit
right.
there. Not unless everybody gonna play the game, but still, you going away from the house to do something different. So
right. No, I wasn't bringing it no way, but I would have brought it for like hotel activity. But like I said, man,
if I was by myself, then yeah. But with the family, no, we good. We can eat at the crib.
Yeah. So no, that's about all the gaming I got in. That's about it. So we can move on. So let's get into this, man. We got several topics, but I want to start with let's start with this steep because Keith sent us this, and I feel like this is. I think this might be warranted now. You know what I'm saying? Because, bro, we might not have this game, man. They talking about that is basically they having problems. Basically sending it over to the Switch. I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but I brought it up. But can y'all see that? I'm pretty sure the cast members can see it, but I don't know if y'all can. Anyway, IGN. Okay, well then I'll read it. But IGN says Steep for Nintendo Switch is in trouble. IGN France is reporting that sources have informed them that Ubisoft is having trouble bringing Steep over to the Nintendo Switch. The open world extreme sports game wasn't showcased or mentioned for the Nintendo Switch at this moment. At this month's E3 event in LA. The source has told IGN that Ubisoft is having so much trouble porting Steep across to the platform that Nintendo have stepped in to offer so much needed help. The source even goes as far as to say that Steep may not come to the Switch altogether and could be canned on the platform. And they go on to say we will have to wait and see what happens. So I'm hoping this ain't true because I was looking forward to getting this game. So what do y'all think, man? What like DTK? What do you take from this? Like,
I mean, I don't want to. I'm not a sadist. I don't like to antagonize people and kick them when they're down. But this is the type of stuff we said was going to happen long time ago. It is kind of puzzling that the article says that Nintendo is stepping in or tried to step in to help get this game ironed out, but that's good that they're at least trying. But it is what it is. It's not really that serious. I mean, it would be nice to have it on the Switch for people who own it and don't own anything else. But if you own something else, then I don't see what's the big deal. Go ahead and get it for the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 or PC and call it a day. It's not that big. It's not a huge loss to Nintendo because this particular game may not come to the Switch. I think is more or less indicative of, like I said, what we've said time and time again, is that the hardware, is just not up to par with everything else, and developers just don't have the time, money, or resources to really fit these games onto inferior hardware. It can be done, but what is the advantage for them? Because let's say that they actually find a way to get this game on the Switch. This is almost a year. When the tentative release date for this is almost a year from when it was actually released. Who's buying this game? You see what I'm saying? So people pretty much already played the game, and they say, it's pretty good, or people say, yeah, I enjoy it. But you're not going to have this huge mass exodus of people going out to buy this game for the Switch when it comes out for the Switch, unless there's something about the gameplay on the Switch that's completely different and unique that you can't get anywhere else. Like if they can incorporate the HD Rumble in it or some way with the Joy-Cons or something like that. Maybe you can use the Joy-Cons like the if you're skiing. What do you call those things you hold in your hands when you're skiing? What are those called?
The guiders.
Yeah. Like let's say, like you can hold those in your hand, and then that that can help you to balance and steer when you're doing the skiing or something like that. I mean, that's what I would be thinking about doing if I was, trying to port this game over to the Switch. I mean, that would be if I was going to bring any game to the Switch. The first thing I'm thinking about is how am I going to use the unique features of the console so that my game can sell. Because if I just drop the game on it as is, even if I maximize the power that the Switch has and make the game look presentable, why am I buying this version where there's a better looking version on a console or multiple consoles? So, it's just, Nintendo's going to have to get ahead of the game. They're going to have to go to developers and say, look, we have an idea on how to take one of your IPs and make them really interesting on our console, and we will walk hand in hand with you in development on this game, so there will be no hiccups, and you'll be able to do everything that you need to do. It'll be smooth, and we'll pay for development costs. And if they start doing stuff like that, then it won't make any difference that it's underpowered and won't look as good, because developers are like, well, it's no risk to us if it doesn't sell because we got paid.
Okay, K-Bar, what's your take?
My take, I'm coming from a different angle with this one. So the angle I'm coming at is that it has been hushed on what about them and this, but what they're really working on, what they're really complaining about, isn't just porting over, but what's Nintendo's trying to do with online. Because this is I don't know if it's an online only game, but it is mostly played online. That was the whole selling point with them showing it at E3. I remember showing them and showing people skiing together on a mountain and be able to connect with a person across the mountain range and stuff like that. And maybe this is just a cover up for them because they haven't, they don't know what fully Nintendo trying to do with their online service. So this is maybe them using to buy some time to wait out to see what Nintendo is going to do. I don't know if it's exactly that, but I'm thinking that has to play some part into it. But as to D2K's point, I'm trying to look at some numbers for the game. It's only sold about 1 million copies. That's 730 copies from the PlayStation, 320,000 copies on the Xbox One, and not counting on the PC. So totally up to about 1 million. And since we definitely know that the audience for the Switch is smaller than the Xbox One community, maybe I don't really expect this to break the bank or sell a lot. So to D2K's point, I don't think much is being missed by this title. This isn't a major title that's going out there and getting people to buy the system. And again, to D2K's point, as he perfectly put it, this is going to be almost a year out from when the game was released. And so, yeah, it's bad that game is delayed, and this doesn't look good for both Nintendo and Ubisoft, because the whole thing, the Switch is supposed to be easier to develop and easier to port to. Until they really find out what the issue is, what the problem is, they have to get that and solve it. But it's not a good look for either company. But I don't think this small of a game is going to sway either way, as in a true negative for Nintendo or a true positive for Nintendo, even if it did come on time and was on the system and was ready to go. And so I think at some point this becomes kind of a wash, and it fades into the background, or can become another tool for people who want to say, look, Nintendo's doing it all over again, to be able to point the finger.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll need to know more why. I would need to know more why the game is having a hard time being ported over. It could be a plethora of reasons, and to see that Nintendo is stepping in to aid them, Ubisoft, with getting it over there, I don't think it's because it can't run on the system. I'm not ready to say that's the case. It might be some hiccups here and there with something that maybe they haven't figured out, or maybe they run into something they haven't figured out that Nintendo might be able to. So I'm gonna leave out hope, because I was one of the ones that was planning on getting this game. It looked fun to me, but like K-Bum said, and I think you said it also, D2K, it's not one of them games that's going to make or break. And people, to me, I don't see where anybody can run and be like, oh, see, they're not getting this game. I don't think nobody's really checking for this game like that anyway. But that is strange to hear this at this time, and it was And it brings up another question because we didn't hear about a few games that we heard about before. Like we didn't hear about Payday when we was hearing about that before. So it is kind of awkward that they're coming out with this now, talking about how they having trouble. I don't know what it really means. I'm just hoping that Nintendo can address whatever is keeping Ubisoft and the France team or whoever's making it from getting it up and running. But right now, I don't think it'll make a break for the Switch or party content coming to the Switch. But we shall see. I don't know. Anything else, D2K or K-Bomb?
Well, I mean, in the comments section, the Truth just made a comment saying that I was basically saying that, you know, traditionally third parties have not fared well on Nintendo consoles, and he said they did well on the SNES, and I was about to type it, but I guess I'll just say it, is that no, they didn't. The only three companies that have really made money consistently on Nintendo consoles have been Square, Enix, and Ubisoft. And when it comes to the NES and the SNES, when you actually look at the numbers, it's very shocking. A lot of people have so many fond memories of so many great third-party games on the SNES and the NES. But in terms of actual sales, they're not good at all. They're really not.
What about Capcom? We're going to talk about them. But
well, Capcom did okay. They actually, Capcom did very well on the SNES, but it was like Capcom, Namco were the first couple of like the NES and SNES. It was Capcom, Namco, and then it was Square and Enix, and then with the Wii, it was Ubisoft. They cleaned up on the Wii, and they did well on the GameCube as well. But you know, it was like when you look at the top 20 best-selling games for the SNES and the NES, only like 3 or 4 are third party. The rest are all first party from Nintendo. On the contrast, when you look at Microsoft and Sony consoles, it's like maybe 3 or 4 in the top 10 that are first party, and the vast majority are third party, and the number 1, 2, 3, 4 are usually third party games. So it's kind of a no-brainer for a third party to say, well, this is where we're going to make our money. I mean, this is where people are buying our games. You know, even if the Switch was as powerful as everything else, like I said before, you know, you had the GameCube, which was powerful. You had the N64, which was powerful, even though it had the disability of the cartridges, but it still was a powerful console. You know, it didn't make any difference. It just seems like people don't want to buy third-party games on Nintendo consoles. I mean, people say, well, yeah, I do, but you know, the numbers say a different story, you know, and third parties cannot put games on the console and hope that things change. You can't do that with your money. You got to put it where you know you're going to get a return on your investment. And that's the reason why some of these third parties came out and basically said, look, if Nintendo will publish our games, then we'll be more than glad to bring our games to the Switch because there will be no financial risk to us. That's the reason why you got Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U, because that game was in development, heck. And Nintendo said, well, hell, we'll pay for you to bring it back out of, you know, the grave and put it on our console. And they was like, cool. You know? So all the money that they made on this, even though Bayonetta didn't sell a whole lot, it was all profit for Platinum Games. So that's the type of stuff they have to do. They have to make it financially reasonable for third parties to put their games on the Switch. You know, and they got too much money to be stingy. Way too much money.
Okay. Hey, Bob.
I mean, he summed it up. We can go from there.
Okay, let's move on to Capcom since we did bring them up. So Capcom has some interesting things to say about X-Men. Did y'all see this?
Man, I saw that. I'll let you finish. Sorry, go ahead.
Says Marvel fans don't remember the X-Men, says Capcom. Like, when I saw this, I didn't know what they were like. I guess they're missing out of the I guess the Marvel versus Capcom game, something like that. Like, do you know why they made the statement?
Yes, I do know about it. I don't know if D2K want to talk about it since he's been playing the game. You want to talk about D2K?
Well, I mean, I've heard people complain about this. I was watching Maximilian, his video. He was talking about it, and there's a lot of backlash about the X-Men characters not being in this game. I didn't know that they said something like this. I just thought that they just weren't in there. You know, I didn't know that they had a stupid reason like this. So I'll defer to you to find out what they're actually talking about.
Okay. I'm pulling it up now so I can share it, but
yeah, I mean, I can talk about it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So, Capcom. So, the new fighting game, what was that? Marvel versus
Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, Capcom Infinite, whatever. Doesn't have any in the preview. They haven't previewed any X-Men. And also, for those who kind of seen the little roster thing, some of the sneak peeks, there's been no X-Men reveal. So, one of the comments that the Capcom guys made, was that, Marvel fans don't remember the X-Men anyway. Now, if we're just talking about movies and the Marvel universe, then I can see your point. But when we're talking about video games and we're talking about Marvel versus, I mean, if you think of any of that, any of your favorite characters on Marvel versus, we're all X-Men. Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, your favorite characters on the old games that were in Capcom were Marvel, were X-Men. So I don't understand why they needed to say the statement that they needed to say. Just say that you don't really, that that these are the best characters that you want to put on the screen. But saying something stupid as Marvel fans don't remember X-Men, it's just it's just blasphemy. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But that was kind of the position that he said the statement out
of. Okay, D2K, because I got an idea of what's going on. I think one of the former persons, John Shaw, used to talk about this a lot with X-Men. So I kind of think it might be true, but I'll let D2K go first.
Yeah, whoever said that whoever said they need to be drug out in the street and smacked with a tire iron. I mean, that's just as stupid as I can think. I mean, it's not like that. I mean, we just saw an X-Men movie. What was it, last year? Apocalypse? Was that last year or was that a year before?
I think year before.
Last year. Yeah, year before, but it was the last X-Men movie.
Right. So it's not like the X-Men. It's not like The Last Stand was the last movie that anybody remember. There hasn't been anything X-Men going on since then. We've had 3 X-Men movies since that. So that's stupid. And then Logan just came out this year. I mean, I don't know why these people think that we're so stupid. It just really irritates me that when they make stupid excuses for why they're doing things. If you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. But don't make dumb excuses as to why you're not doing it. I don't really understand it at all. It's silly. It's really dumb.
Now, what I heard was that Marvel has a bigger role in this making of this game than they do.
That franchise.
And that I just popped into my mind is that there was a while where
you break up. Go ahead.
There was a while where we didn't know that this game was going to be made because of rights to the characters and things like that. That might have something to do with it. Why the X-Men characters are not in there.
But those rights are only movie rights.
Well, I don't. If that's the thing. It was really, really murky in terms of what the rights were to the characters and whatnot. And it was really, it was kind of. I mean, I don't know the full story about it, but there's something goofy about the whole rights issue to where we didn't even know if this game was going to be made, and they finally said we're going to make the game. And it's very interesting how there's no X-Men in the game. You know, even in the last game, you had Storm, you had Wolverine, you know, Magneto, but none of those people are in this game. So
I still think this is Marvel's excuse and Marvel's reasoning and their way of trying to get Fox to let go X-Men. I think this is all planned. The reason why they killed off Wolverine.
Like I said, that's why I brought up. That's what I brought up. What John said, because it seems to be playing out exactly like he said it. Like, because Marvel doesn't own the rights to the X-Men, and because of that, they're seemingly trying their best to almost write out their existence in a sense, to where like this, because this, then you are told you are collabing with Marvel, and Marvel is owned by Disney, and Disney doesn't have any ties to the X-Men. So you put characters in there that makes whoever owns X-Men makes money off of a game that Marvel and Capcom is basically making together.
Actually, there's no money. So Fox is not going to make money off.
Well, I mean, if you popularize Wolverine again, if you popularize Magneto, make them characters popular, that for those who own the rights to make the movies the movie.
Right. Okay. I thought you were trying to reference that they were going to make money through this game. But you're going exactly where I was going to go, is that they're going to make it because of making those characters popular again, or giving free publicity to those characters. And I see Terrell in the comments saying that, you know, that it's Marvel's, you know, just trying to promote their upcoming movies. But, you know, I don't believe that's the full case, because they shouldn't have any issues of having X-Men in the game. So you can still have X-Men in the game and still have enough characters from your universe to promote your movies. You don't have to X out the entire X-Men user base, characters, just to promote your movies, when you know that a lot of the players who played Marvel vs. Capcom were your favorite characters, most likely were all X-Men. I mean, I don't see why they need to make that decision if the plan was just to promote their movies, because they do that in many other ways. That's what the whole the phone game, the Champions of what's-called a game, is used to promote the movies, because they use the same outfits. The contest of Champions, they use the same outfits they use in the movies in the video game. Go ahead.
I don't think it's about promotion. I think it's about not being sued, because since they don't own those rights. I don't think it's about making money either. They don't want to get sued for using characters that Fox own, or just for an example, Sony is getting an exclusive Spider-Man game. Why? Because they own the rights to Spider-Man. So I don't think it's anything like that. I just think they don't want to get sued. It's just something to cover their bases. Marvel may not Marvel, but Fox may not sue them, but they might sue them. So it's better to just leave them.
So does those rights cross over into video games, that they just have the right for movie?
I don't think so.
I think they do, because it's the character. I think it's the character, the IP of the, I don't know if that's the right word.
They didn't sell the total IP. They didn't sell the total IP of the character.
Yeah, I thought it was just movies.
It was just movies. That's why when Paramount had Ghost Rider, and they had Daredevil. No, Fox had Daredevil. Sorry, that Ghost Rider and the Hulk. It's only the likeness of the movie, because there were Hulk games that were made during that time. I don't believe there was any Ghost Rider games, but I know there was a Hulk game made during that time that was not Paramount's, because they only, I think it was close to Marvel, but it was only rights to. Now they can have a movie tie-in, but it's not tied directly into the deal with the movies.
I think that this is Disney putting the kibosh on things, and they're basically trying to sabotage the X-Men altogether. That's what this really comes down to. Disney makes the decisions when it comes to Marvel, anything, because they own Marvel.
Yep.
And putting the X-Men in the game is basically keeping the X-Men alive. They don't want the X-Men movies to do well. They don't want X-Men anything to do well. They want it to die off and become unprofitable so they can get their hands on it again.
They killed the X-Men off in the comic books just to spite and for that very same reason. I mean, that's what that X-Men versus Avengers. That was the whole reason why they did X-Men versus Avengers. And the reader base showed that they still love X-Men and chose X-Men over the Avengers. But that's what they were trying to do, to kill off and show that the Avengers are more popular, which they're not, than the X-Men. That was their plan.
Yeah,
and that's
I
what
think that's what it is.
They want to basically make it such a unvaluable commodity that Fox says, well, here, you can have it back. We don't want it anymore. And Disney's like, thank you, and take off and make all kinds of X-Men movies.
That's an interesting perspective. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and I know we kind of going into movies. It's kind of straying away from games, but I want to ask you: Marvel don't own Disney owns Marvel, but Marvel, as far as movies, don't own the right to make Spider-Man, but Sony collabed with Marvel, right?
So no, well, yes and no. Marvel told Sony, "You're screwing up our Spider-Man. Bring that boy over here. Let us do it right, and then you can keep little Venom, and we'll let you keep your name on Spider-Man." Like this is Marvel's movie. Sony is just going to get paid off of it. This is Sony. Sony said, we don't want the other guy. They said, get rid of him. We don't want him. He said, so Marvel, like, we want executive decisions on who we make Spider-Man. We want executive decisions on how we make the movie, on what the plot is. We want executive decisions on that movie. And Sony said, well, we don't want to. He said, do you want to make money or not? And Sony said, cool. And this is why this is a tie-in to the MCU, because this is Marvel's movie with Sony's backing on money or whatever Sony's throwing in the pot to help out. But this is Marvel's movie. And that was the deal.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Disney stepped in and said, we can buy you if we really want to. So, if you want a trip, we can take it that direction, or we can just let us make the Spider-Man movie and you keep the rights and everybody gets paid at the end. So
right.
What's it going to be?
Exactly.
Okay. No, I never really understood the full gamut of why and how that was coming about with Spider-Man, because Marvel is making it, but I didn't know how the collaboration was working between Marvel, Disney, and Sony with that franchise.
Yep.
So you kind of cleared that up, K-Bum. That's okay, cool.
That's what they told them boys.
All right, what's up, Keith Norris?
What's up? So
you was able to make it, huh?
I'll be here for a little bit.
Okay. Well, let's I'm go one more topic, then we're gonna get to our main topic. What y'all think about Nintendo Switch selling 1 million in Japan? Keith.
Cool. I'm glad it's selling. I mean, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't be paying attention to the numbers, but I'm glad it's selling. That means there's demand for it. So that means demand equals gain. So keep it coming.
K-Bomb 20.
I think that's awesome. I hope they can keep the momentum. I hope they can get stuff out there so people can continue to play and keep pushing it. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think we need 3 consoles in the race because Nintendo does things different, and the other guys, need to know that their way is not always the best way. You can look at things from different angles. So I'm happy that it's doing good. Really happy.
Okay. D2K.
Well, I'm glad it's selling well. It's not really a newsworthy item, though. I mean, it's pretty much par for the course. It would be more of news if it didn't sell over 1 million copies in Japan, because it was basically designed for that market.
That's true.
So that's why. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good, man, to know that they sell it. I mean, I don't really keep up with the numbers anyway, but since we do the podcast, I feel like it's something that is worthy of conversation. But yeah, I'm glad to see that it's still moving units and that it's doing well in Japan. It should do well in Japan, like D2K said, and it's doing well. I mean, I heard about the Lions. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but they literally taking auctions, taking tickets, and they basically you win the opportunity to buy the Switch. That was kind of crazy to me. So yeah, that's good. You know, that's real good in my opinion. That it's doing that well and has that got the attention over there like it does. Anybody else on that? Anybody else? And we can move on.
I guess that's a no.
All right, so this is a topic, man, that me and K-Bum kind of started off earlier today. I want to talk about this game, man. I want to talk about it a little bit more. I hope y'all can see it there. I'm playing it right now. It's God of War. Now, the official name is going to be God of War 4. I have no idea. I know that it's called.
You breaking up, Level.
Yeah, you might want to pause that video.
Yeah, let me pause it. I just did. Am I doing good now?
Yeah.
Okay, so want to talk about this game right here, man. To me, I'm a big God of War fan. Let me get that out there. I'm a huge God of War fan. I love all 4 of them. I didn't play none of PSP, so I don't know about those versions, but the original one, the second one, PlayStation 3, and the I guess the prequel on the PlayStation 3. I enjoyed all of those. The prequel wasn't as good, but it was still decent.
That Ascension you talking about?
Yeah, the Ascension. I think that was it, wasn't it?
Ascension. Yeah.
Yeah, good game. Wasn't better. It wasn't as good as the first 3, but it was definitely a good. But this God of War has me really intrigued, dude, as a God of War fan. I'm loving everything I'm seeing, and I'm wondering, is the game going to live up to what it looks like? And I mean, I want to play it, but I can't talk, and because my computer ain't. I need a new guys, but anyway, so it won't let me play it and talk. But let me jump to Keith real quick because I know he won't be here long. Like, what are you expecting from this game? We're gonna do this with Mario, and we're gonna do this with Metroid Prime 4. Because I told K-Bum if we do this one, we gotta do those games too.
Lord have mercy.
That's the stipulation. If we're gonna talk intensive about this game, we got to do it about Mario Odyssey. We got to do it about.
Listen, that's not really fair because we spent so much time talking about Nintendo. We
I'm
hardly talk
messing with
about.
Thank you, D2K. Speak that truth, brother.
I'm messing with K-Bum, man. Anyway, why you always got to play devil's advocate, man? Why you just keep screaming on left? But dude, this game really. At first, I was like, man, it's just a Uncharted. This is just Uncharted God of War with Uncharted like features. But I watched it this morning.
That's what you.
Yeah, that's what me and Keith was calling it, God of Uncharted. But anyway, but I watched the video this morning, man, and I watched the behind the scenes how they was making it, and just got to watch it and really paying attention to it outside of the E3 spectacle, just paying attention to it and watching it. And I'm not gonna front. This moves so high up on my can't wait list. It makes no sense. And I love the way that they kind of showcasing the story. I love how everything seems to be working. Now, I'm not sure about the gameplay. K-Bum is sold on the gameplay. I'm not yet. I don't know how it's going to work in that over-the-shoulder camera angle. But, Keith, what's your thoughts, man? How do you feel like this game going to turn out?
Well, first of all, let me preface this by saying I've really never played any of the God of Wars. I've seen my friends play them all the way back from the PS2 era, and I never really got into them. So my thoughts on it are I'm like a blank slate. You know what I'm saying? And I think, since you already said we're not gonna talk about it and call it a Uncharted clone or anything like that, but it really gave me that vibe. But even still, it um, I think the story so far, the way it looks, the way the game is being told, the fact that they kind of have that Uncharted type element, but it also has the gruesomeness of the previous God of War titles. So it's kind of like a really good marriage that it's kind of like Sony is like going full circle with their IPs here. I think it's going to do numbers. I think it's going to do great. Let me remove my own bias, and I'm happy that the God of War fans, including yourself, are getting a new God of War game. And I watched that video,
Including me.
including K-Bum, and I watched that. I watched that video, and I always seem to gain respect from like seeing how things are made and how they were acting, and it looked real good. I like that. And the dude's voice, man, like I could just listen to that dude talk forever.
Right.
The guy that's playing Kratos, he wasn't even trying. Like that's his natural voice looked like. But no, like you were saying, I liked all the behind the scenes and all that other stuff. So it gave me a greater appreciation for the game. Probably won't play it unless I go to my homeboy house or something like that. But other than that, man, I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. Matter of fact, I need to tell him so he can go ahead and buy it. That way I can experience it too. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good.
Okay, D2K. I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with the whole. I'm no K-Bum ready to jump in here, but I'm trying to get everybody in before we go into it.
Me last. I'm gonna take up the whole podcast.
But I don't know how familiar you are with the God of War franchise, but this one is really straying away from that tried and true formula we're used to with God of War. And so let me get your take. What's your thoughts on this God of War? How are you feeling about it if you have seen it on it so far and what you've seen on it so far?
I'm intrigued by the storyline. I really enjoy playing games that have a really solid storyline where the characters are very engaging. They pull you in and you actually care about what's happening to the characters. It's not just, you're not just playing a huge quick time event. It's like I would just watch this game being played by somebody else and have a good time because I really want to understand or really want to see how things turn out with the characters because of the relationship with him and his son. And there's so many paradigms that are attached to that, you know, there's so many different ways that this game can go storyline wise. And, you know, it's like, man, I don't even know what's going to happen. You know, I mean, there's a lot of ideas what could happen, but I don't want to say what could happen, you know, possibly put a spoiler out there, but it's just really, really well done, the storyline. And even if the game itself really wasn't all that great in terms of playing it, I would like to just see what happens because the story is so well done. But this is a God of War game. It's being done by one of Sony's, you know, biggest in-house studios. They're not going to lay an egg. This is not going to be a bad game at all. I mean, it might be a departure from what people are used to with God of War, but I think that sometimes you do need a break from the norm. You do need to change things up a little bit. I think that the hack and slash aspect of God of War will be woven into the gameplay at points in the game. So I don't think that's going to be gone. I just think that there's more story of what's going on. So you actually have a reason to do that. When you're actually doing these things, when you're actually getting into battle, it means more, especially when a kid has to get involved. Now it means more because you're investing in what happens to him. It's not just like, okay, there's just two characters destroying monsters. It's like, oh man, is this kid going to get it? Can he actually fight? Is he going to get killed? You know, I mean, you're it's like watching a movie almost, like I said before. And I really think that this game is going to do very well for Sony. And I think that, you know, when it does well, I think it might serve as a template for other games in that genre to kind of follow suit and do similar things like this.
Okay, yeah, I agree. And we just scratching the surface of what I want to talk about here with this game, but we on the right track. And I agree everything you said, D2K. I'm really, it's the storyline, and I'm finna let you in here, K-Bomb. But it was the storyline when the last scene when they were standing on the boat and the serpent or the snake,
the world serpent.
The world serpent, yeah. And he kind of opened his eye and he rose up out the, man, I was like, oh my God.
They showed the scale.
Yeah, but the scale was dope. But the way that it made me want to know what's going on and where Kratos is and where he finds himself and what's going on with his kid. Everything about it is just pulling my imagination in. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to touch on some stuff, and that's why I want to dive into this game. So go ahead, K-Bon. How are you feeling just on the surface level about this game?
Oh, it's my time. Yeah, okay, my baby. So my God of War, right? And this one, surface. I'll stick to the question that's being asked. I'm not gonna go off a tangent. I'll try not to. But on the surface of what I've been shown, to me, it looks outstanding. I know when I watched the E3 trailer and the gameplay, I think my mouth was open the entire time. Because I was one of those people when I heard that God of War was going to the Norse gods. When I heard that, I'm like, this is going to be stupid. I'm like, they're ruining God of War. I don't know why they're going away from what they've been going with. I said, this is dumb. This is not going to be smart. I said, and they say he had like a hammer or axe. I'm like, man, that's going to be stupid. Why do you have the change of Olympics? What Olympus? What's going on? And then I saw it. And then I saw the story. And then I saw just the conversations between Kratos and the kid, and the acting, and the fact that they brought you in with the acting, and it made the scene seem fuller than what it actually is. And man, and seeing the behind the scenes, and I give props to my boy T.C. Carson. I believe that's the name of the guy who played the original voice of Kratos. Give him mad props for all the work he did, but this guy.
Talking about Kyle Barker from
Kyle Barker, yes sir. That was
Living Single.
Yeah,
Kyle Barker.
Yes sir. He did an amazing job with Kratos, but I think this guy's is going to take over the reins. He's going to do justice to the character as well. And so I think everything about it. I think when you saw that scene, I saw it from a different point of view. When I saw the world serpent, I love how God of War. If you've played any of the God of Wars, you've seen how they've done the scale of the game. Like,
yeah, I appreciate the scale. Don't get me wrong, the scale got me too. The story around that was more intriguing, but the scale was dope too.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. But that took me off, and what set it apart for me was how the monster reacted. The little subtleties of the nose and the sound that the nose made when he was breathing in, that real serpent type sound that it made, and just the subtleties that it had. It shows a very attention to detail. And one last thing before we get truly into it is that I don't know if you saw the trailer, you actually see like a vase that has the old school God of War that had him back in his Greek days as a Spartan. And so so that piece is what, as Level was saying, sparked my interest into the story to try to find what's going on, because is this the same Kratos?
I don't think so.
What's going on? Because they showed him that, but even that, man, if you know where Kratos is, that whiteness on his skin is the ashes of his family. So how does this Kratos have the ashes on his family? The ashes, if he actually has his son, how does he have the ash on him?
And that may not be his son either.
I said that from the jump. Anyway, let me stop.
So I'm done if I get too excited. We probably got more talking to do, but yeah, I'll leave it at that for right now.
So let's get into it, man. So you bring up an interesting aspect. Do you believe that this is the Kratos from God of War, Chains of Olympus, the Greek gods, Zeus' son, Ares fought Ares, took over, became the god of war. Do you believe this is the same Kratos? And I let everybody answer that on their own. Like Keith, do you believe it's the same Kratos?
You had to drop out.
Oh, you had to drop out. Or D2K, do you believe it's the same Kratos?
No.
You don't?
No, I think that I think this might be a situation sort of like Zelda, where you have different links from different timelines. I mean, it's not the same link consistently throughout the Zelda universe, so to speak. I think this might be, I don't know if this is, in the future or in the past, but I don't think this is the same Kratos. I think this is a different Kratos.
Okay, K-Bum, you theorize that it's not, or do you?
No. I think it's the same one. I think it's the same Kratos. I don't know if they're gonna do the whole memory wipe crap thing that they usually do for video games, but I do think it's the same Kratos. I don't know how it is, but like with me seeing him and seeing those urn or whatever in that room and seeing the old looking God of War, I think that is the same Kratos.
Yeah, that's where I was about to go. That's what made me. I believe two things make me believe this is the exact same Kratos, and I don't believe. And I said this from the front of this footage. I don't believe that boy is his actual son. I think he's finding some type of connection to his lost family through this new family that he's taken on, and this boy that he's trying to chain up. I don't think it's his actual boy. The pain that he wears on his face makes me believe that this is Kratos.
Right.
The pain that he shows on his face, the vase that was inside the room that kind of connects him to his former self, and then when he looked at the vase, he didn't look at it as if he didn't recognize who was on it and what it was depicting. So I believe this is the Kratos that got drugged off the scene and we didn't know what happened to him. I think he's trying to rewrite his and wipe clean up his past but who he is and being who he is finding him in this whole new world that he finds himself in. I don't know if Kratos can die. I don't know if Kratos is immortal. I don't know all the ins and outs of that but I do believe that this is the actual Kratos. So, and that vase, that urn or whatever it was that had depicted with his two Olympic chains of Olympus knives in his hand, to me, let me know that this is actually Kratos and the pain he wear on his face. But let me ask this. Do you think, and this is where I want to go in this, do you think this over the shoulder new way of approaching the game is going to capture, and D2K kind of alluded to, so I'm going to turn it back over to him. Is it going to capture that frantic, fast-paced, over-the-top adrenaline rush, oh my God, feeling that you got from the old God of Wars? Go ahead, D2K. What you think?
It's hard to really say that because we haven't seen a whole lot of the combat. We've only seen bits and pieces of it. And the combat has been it hasn't been really, I mean, it was somewhat hectic, but it wasn't nearly as hectic as fights he's had in the past. But it's really kind of hard to say without seeing more. I think that it will be fine in terms of the gameplay. It's just different because it's a different perspective. But I think that the core gameplay, demographic or dynamic, I should say, will be intact when you get to the really serious parts. So you're fighting these giant titans and stuff like that. I don't think it'll be much of a difference. I think they'll still have the hack and slash aspect of it. I don't think people need to worry too much about it. I just think that the approach that they're taking just gives you more depth to what's going on. It's not just another hack and slash. It's more like you're playing a story and with hack and slash aspects and parts to the game. So I think that it'll be fine.
Okay, K-Bob?
Well, I think the action is going to be a little bit different. I don't think it's going to be that the true frantic pace of the old one. I think there's going to be more what I'm looking for. It's going to be more strategic type of fight that with the old one you could yeah you could kind of do the same thing over and over and kind of what I'm saying, get your way through most of the game without having to switch up. But what I see from this, when I see it, I see this as being more of a smarter hack and slash. Kind of how the what those games were. The new Ninja Gaiden games were. It was hack and slash, but you couldn't just do the same thing over and over. You had to switch up. You had to use different weapons, and during whatever situation you were in. It wasn't just a true hack and slash, even though it was. But you had to play a little bit smarter. I see them going that direction with this game instead of just learn the combo and keep doing it over and over. And you can just press square, triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle. I see this being a more intelligent type fighter than the old one. But what I do see, which is elements of the old one, is that even with the axe, you see those. What makes it a hack and slash? You see those air global hits, or those area hits where you hit multiple people at once. You still get that. You still see that when he throws a hammer and he hits 3 people at one time, like he used to do with the Chains of Olympics. So you still get that aspect of the fighting, which I think is going to be a key to this. But we were talking about the over the shoulder and the over the shoulder. I love the over the shoulder. The reason because is there's a couple scenes where you see him just violently ripping someone apart. And in the old games, unless they zoomed in, you could not see that emotion. You couldn't see that, anger of Kratos ripping apart. Other than that scene with Helos or whatever. You remember that scene? That was terrible. But with that, the camera angle, you couldn't see how vicious he was in battle. But with this and being as close as you are, you can see the blood being splattered on the fake third person camera. Being that close to the action, and you can even when he jumped down from the giant and he slammed the big glowing thing on top of his head, you saw the emotion and the just from him doing that, which is what Kratos is, and I love that, and being that close to the action and being able to see it. I think some of the battle is gonna suffer, but when you looked at it, you didn't see anyone trying to flank him because of the camera angle. Which in the old one, people came from all different directions. But this one, a lot of people are coming from the front and not flanking because of the camera, which level is saying you may lose some of the frantic type fighting because of that. But I still like it. I think it's gonna do a great job. Hopefully, it can do a great job of showing that raw emotion that Kratos has.
Okay, yeah, I think like D2K said, we don't have enough footage to really gauge if the gameplay is going to match the intensity of the former games. But the little bit that we did see this past E3 leads me to being more confident that the over-the-shoulder approach now can actually be more engaging than the drawed out Kratos in this kind of limited space with a whole bunch of different enemies coming at them, and you basically just trying to survive the horde. I think that drawing it in allows you to see more of the viciousness of Kratos, how bad he is, that man, Kratos. So I'm liking that. I'm liking that. I'm just hoping that, like you said, K-Bum, if you take the Ninja, because the Ninja Gaiden, however you want to say it, does a little bit of both what God of War was doing and what God of War is doing now. I would say Ninja Gaiden is a good example because you got the more drawn in combat up close. You can really see what's going on, and then you also have the drawn out combat that you also see in a God of War. It's kind of combination of both, but it's not really pure over the shoulder combat. I would actually say it's more like what God of War was, but I think this intensifies and engages the player or the gamer more with the over the shoulder. I just hope they can realize what we're used to with Kratos in that angle. But let me ask y'all, did y'all notice this? As I was watching the footage and kind of analyzing a little bit deeper, Kratos looks older. He kind of gave me an old man Logan type feel. I don't know if y'all caught that.
Yeah, I did see that. It was kind of like an old fighter, you know, like a really old fighter that's kind of like he's you know what I'm saying, he's done fighting, but you know you still know he still got it in him, but he's like, you know, this isn't me anymore. That's why I got that kind of, you know,
right, like he
do this anymore.
Like he's still bad, but he's a different type of bad. He's not he's agile, but he ain't as agile. He kind of come off like he has a little wear on him. He ain't as agile and all that as he used to be, but he is still that vicious dude, kind of like Logan. Logan didn't want to fight. Right. He didn't want to engage, but when he had to, he was still ferocious, but it was a different type. It was more methodical and more, I say wiser, not just viciously attacking. And I kind of got that from this new version of Kratos, like his age and it's like he's more tactical about his approach more than just let me at him and I'm just going to viciously take him out. It's like, let me think of how I'm going to approach this. And that kind of really intrigues me too. Like I said, I don't know. You got something you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, it kind of would play into the gameplay a lot if he's a more tactical fighter because of his age. He can't, like you say, he can't just go out there, you know, balls to the walls and just berserker. You know, he has to be more measured in what he's doing. And I like the old fighter comparison there. It's like I got to be more measured in what I'm doing, and it's like everything that he does has a purpose. There's no wasted movement. There's no wasted motion. There's no wasted hits or strikes. Everything that he's doing is going for a finish or a kill. Yeah. So, you know, I think that might make him even more dangerous in some aspects because there's less opportunity for him to be hurt because he's not leaving himself as open with that, super vicious style. Because when you're like going crazy, you're not paying attention to everything. So you can easily get attacked from somewhere. But if you're more reserved, it's kind of like, if you want to compare it to a fighter, it's like Mayweather. You know, Mayweather doesn't punch until he knows he's going to hit you. Right. He doesn't do anything until he knows that I'm going to punch that's going to connect. That's pretty much it. He just stands there. He'll just roll the shoulder and just, stand back and step back. And when he knows he's going to hit you, he hits you. He doesn't throw wild swings. He doesn't throw a lot of punches that are going to miss. I mean, Tyson was the same way. Tyson didn't throw a lot of wild punches. It looked that way, but every time he threw a punch, it was connecting somewhere. So, that's when you get to that level, it's really hard to defeat somebody like that. And it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how his son or the kid plays off of how he fights.
Well, that's what I was just going to go. And Keith, I haven't played Dark Souls, so I don't really know. And Keith, because he put in the comments, Dark Soul type fighting. I've seen Dark Souls, but I have never played it, so I really can't speak on how it plays. But D2K, you bring up a good thing because I noticed some in that footage of because they had more of how they was making the game. They showed more of the interaction with the boy and Kratos. Like they showed Kratos climbing up a wall with the boy on his shoulders, and as he was climbing, they came across this antagonist, was beast-like creature, and the boy kind of saved Kratos because Kratos didn't even notice it. and the boy kind of caught the thing's hand or grabbed the thing's shirt or whatever it was, and killed it before he took out Kratos. So there's a lot of difference with this game. I think it's a little bit slowed down. I think they're allowing you to, like you said, get more tactical, a little bit more thought out to how you're going to approach these enemies. Because when I was watching the gameplay, Kratos seemed to linger back more than what you would do back in the day. When back in the day, it didn't matter what came at you, you just trying to you just slicing and dicing and doing everything you can, doing the combos and the combinations. Whereas this game seems to be more about you can't just go at these enemies head first like you just gonna chop them down. We saw Kratos getting hit way more than he normally does. If y'all noticed that, he wasn't taking them hits too good, put it like that. Like a lot of them hits was showing that he was feeling those blows, and I like they gave Kratos more of a humanness to him. He's not just this overpowering, untouchable Superman monster. He's a human who has an experience, who doesn't want to he has a reluctance to be who he is. And I like that. I like the fact that they make you, it's like Logan. It was like how I felt when I watched Logan. Logan made me appreciate his struggle, his story, what he's been through. It's like they showed that Logan has been through a lot. And yes, the old Wolverine that just sliced through everything, there was repercussions to that Logan being that way. And now this Logan we saw in Logan the movie now was a Logan who was living, kind of reaping what he had sowed by all the brutality, all the wars was starting to take its course on his body. And I kind of saw this with this particular Kratos. When he would take a hit, he didn't get up as fast as he was back in the day. He didn't jump back to with rage. He kind of limped up. it was, and it's playing into the story, which I'm gonna transition to. But I want y'all to kind of give y'all thoughts on that, and then we'll transition to this last point. Any one of y'all, K-Bomb, T2K, whoever want to go.
Thoughts on what again? Make sure I'm telling the right thing.
I was saying, like, is this whole old man Kratos?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It seems like Logan. I'm using the movie Logan because I liked how they depicted Logan and the wear and tear of who Logan was as Wolverine has taken on him. It kind of seems like the same thing is going on with this Kratos. That old Kratos is catching up to him, and he didn't get up as fast as he used to do. Like he laid on the ground longer. He got caught off guard more. He didn't catch every blow like he back in the day. Them blows wouldn't even have caught Kratos.
Right.
So
yeah, I can talk about that.
Go ahead.
I agree, because if you look at some of the scenes, you see the old Kratos would have ran into battle. I mean, would have sprinted into a fight. This one just walks. This one just walks and he seems more calculated. And that, to me, that speaks of that. That Logan type thing that you're referring to. That when Logan had to get into it, he didn't just sprint into it. Except when he was in the forest. I mean, that was different. He had to get to a certain point. But he was just, more of a, okay, all right, I know how this is going to end. I know what I got to do. All right, let's do this. More of that kind of feel. And I see that with this Kratos now. And I think what it does, it creates more depth to the character. You know what I'm saying? It's just not this ball of rage. Because that's what Kratos was in the first movie, just a ball of rage, just exploding on his opponents, and just the way he viciously beat Helios is just, that's who he was. But this one, you don't see that. You see him slowly walk, or things are on a much slower pace, and some of that could be because of how they want to pace the video game. But I think some of that is who he really is now. He's just not this guy who's just ready, that he wants to fight, But this seems like a guy who's going to fight because there is a fight, but not out
He
there
fights
seeking
like
to
he fights
own it.
because he has to.
Right.
It's like he fighting now because he had, like the old God of War had the chip on the shoulder. He wasn't, he created the fight. He created the tension. He created the reason. Like, you know, this Kratos seems to be at all opportunities trying to avoid the fight, trying to avoid the battle, trying to lay low and kind of go unnoticed. And they kind of, like I said, which we finna go to now, the storyline. Let me say this, man. If Nintendo is the greatest game creators of all time, far as gameplay, Sony is slowly be creeping into being the greatest storytellers. Would you agree to that?
Well, I said this in the comments section earlier. The term "greatest" that's pretty much a subjective term because
right.
I don't like to say this is the greatest of this or that. Nintendo
They started to
definitely.
show dominance. Let me say dominance.
Nintendo has always been solid in that area. They've never had
Right.
any, they've never had any leaks in the area in terms of gameplay and creativity, in terms of gameplay and innovation in gameplay. They've always been solid in that area. I mean, they may have faltered in other areas, but that's one area they've always been 100% solid. No one can fault them ever, going all the way back to when they first started making arcade games in the 70s. But Sony definitely has very good storytelling IP. Whatever it might be, whether it's Uncharted, whether it's God of War, they have a lot of good, Last of Us, they have a lot of good storytelling IP to where you're investing in the characters. And I think the reason why it stands out more to us because we're grown and these are stories that have contemporary themes. Whereas Nintendo is not thinking about contemporary things. They're just thinking about you having a good time and playing the game and having fun. I mean, they have characters that they have IP that could expand into becoming more contemporary. Like Metroid could be more contemporary than it is, but it would kind of go away from the core aspect of what Metroid is. So it wouldn't be a good idea to do that. It would just be a better idea for Nintendo to create new IP that are in the same lane as games like Uncharted and God of War, and Last of Us and stuff like that. But you just have to understand what you do best. And when it comes to creating story-driven games or story-driven content, that's something that Sony has done well, at least in the past 2 to 3 generations. I don't know about the first generation so much, but for the PlayStation 2 till now, their games have always had really strong story content.
Okay. K-Bun.
Okay. I'll speak on this from a point of a Sony fan because for many years the little fanboy quote that people told about Sony fans was, I would rather play video games than to watch a movie. Ha ha ha! Laugh laugh laugh. That was the laughing point. The Sony's that you didn't play video games, you sat there and watched movies. Which in the flip side of that is for me is that, and I've always said when people say that, is that, what I'm saying, one of the greatest things that every time you watch a movie, what you always said to yourself is that, especially if it's a really good one, I wonder what it would have been to be in that movie or to be in that universe. And I've always loved Sony games because they focus on the storytelling aspects of it. And to me, the fact that the games were more like movies, to me, was a plus. I never saw it as a negative. I always saw it as a plus that these games were so well that you can see them becoming a movie. And for me, I definitely think Sony has been, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, have excelled in the art of telling stories and of storytelling in their video games.
Can I respond to that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I think a lot of the criticism with Sony was they started making games like Beyond. What's that?
Beyond Two Souls.
So yeah, where the game really was nothing but an interactive movie. It wasn't really a game. So I think the criticism was going at that, not the Last of Us or the Uncharted or the God of Wars.
I said like
but
heavy
those
rain
type of
and
games.
stuff like that.
Well,
Heavy
for
Rain.
someone like you who knows better, it's not that. But you know, there's Nintendo fans out there who were doing that. You know there were.
Yeah. Some of them were doing it. I just try to give context to the majority, not but a few were exactly what K-Bum was saying. Go ahead.
No problem. And so I think they've done an excellent job, a great job in the past 10 years. I know for many people, they've said the first time I don't know how true it is, but well, I do know a lot of people had an emotional reaction to The Last of Us, and the way that the story was told in a very in the way that it was given out and people played it, with an emotional reaction. Some people cried or whatever, but I think that's a testament to how well the game was done. I know I had an emotional reaction when I finally finished Uncharted. I didn't cry anything like that, but it was just seeing how that story wrapped up. I was like, wow, that was an emotional journey, just going through all of that, And so I think they've done an excellent job of doing that. And to me, this is one of the reasons why I enjoy uh, Sony IPs, is because of the storytelling aspect. And you guys remember when I talked about what I was gaming on, we talked about The Witcher, and I told you the reason why I'm still playing The Witcher, and that is because of the story. For me, I'm a huge story guy, and I can play a game with terrible gameplay just to finish the story. I will work through a terrible game if the story is good, just because I want to see how it ends. So to me, I mean, story is huge, and the fact that that they've done a great job on it, especially when you even look at like the Infamous. Um, the second one wasn't great, but the story for the first Infamous was amazing. It was excellent how they spent that whole story, and even the Second Son, I thought that story was very well done. And so, I've had a lot of fun with the stories of the first party IPs of Sony, and think that they've done a great job of, uh, um, you know, telling it in the aspects that they have. So, kudos to them, and I think they've done a great job these couple generations doing that. So,
Yeah, I would say the only game that I've ever finished just to see the storyline that grew war on me was Ascension. Like I liked the game, but I won't lie, it got real repetitive and kind of like Ascension fools you at the beginning because it's so good at the beginning. God of War Ascension, but as you get through the game, it starts to wear thin far as gameplay. But the storyline, and because I wanted to see where it was going and how it was going to complete, I kind of endured through it and to finish it. And I finally beat it. And screaming about that was so hard. It was hard, but there was a way, and I would say a cheap way of beating it. If you learn a certain move, you can do that move over and over again, and kind of continue to do that until all the enemies die. But yeah, that was one game I finished, and the storyline kept me playing, not the actual gameplay. So, and that's why I'm kind of like with games that kind of lean more to the story and don't flesh out the gameplay. But I would say Sony is definitely improving in matching their story with decent to very quality gameplay. But story wise, to me, Sony, this is one game because I'm a real sucker for the mythos and the lure of the gods, Zeus, Ares, and all that stuff. I like all that stuff. And then going over into, I guess, the Vikings guys, I don't know them as well, so that's even more intriguing. And it seems like Sony and the writers over this game has crafted a really good storyline for Kratos. The whole element of him being older, not as vicious, not as willing to engage, kind of reluctant, has a little pause to him, a little strategize, a little caution. It's really intriguing me with this game, man. So overall, I think that God of War 4, whatever it's going to be called, is going to be a gem from Sony. I think it's going to stand out next year, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll let y'all give y'all final thoughts, and then we move to this last topic and get out of here. Go ahead, D2K. Any final thoughts on God of War?
No, I pretty much said everything I need to say about it.
Okay. All right, K-Bob.
I have not said what I need to say about this game. No, man. I think this will be one of those games you will, when you think about a generation and you think about, one of your favorite games in that generation, when we talk about, what you remember, the Uncharted 2, series, and playing that on, that PS3s, and, for a lot of people playing the GTAs on the PS1s and the PS2, generation defining game. I think this is going to be one for the PS4. That this is going to be, if you had a PS4, you should have played this game. It looks like that. The story. I mean, I have not seen a chink in this armor yet. Even though we've only seen trailers and behind the scenes, so we haven't seen a bunch. But I haven't seen anything that's considered a chink in this armor, as far as gameplay and even the sound quality is on point. And so I think this is going to be one of those games that's like, you got to get it. Just point blank, you got to get it. You got to play it. Just like the Switch already has that game, which is Zelda. Mm-hmm. They already have that game. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be on the same line as that.
Okay. So let's move on. I'm going to answer this question. I'll let y'all answer too. Chariot Man Videos asks, how do you think the Xbox One will fare to the PlayStation 4/Pro and the Nintendo Switch? I'm going to say until Xbox get a game that warrants purchase, is not going to fare that well, because I would say both Sony and Nintendo has games gamers want. Right now, Microsoft really doesn't have any games that interest anybody that ain't a multi-plat. So I don't think it's going to fare that well. And the Xbox One X definitely is not, because of the price. Neither is the Pro. It'll take a game like a God of War, a game like those type of games might push the Pro, because I believe all the visuals that we're seeing on this game, God of War, is actually being ran on the Pro. So that might fare well for the Pro. But if the PlayStation 4 OG looks good, it ain't gonna matter. So I don't think the X gonna do that well. The games are not there yet for it to do well. But I don't want to linger on this too long. But anybody else want to add to that before we jump on this last topic and just be quick and get out of
here? I got something. If D2K don't want to go yet,
you can go.
Whoever wants.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna call myself a hypocrite, bro. Because I didn't want the Pro. Because I didn't see any reason to buy the Pro. But when I saw the close up and the texture of the skin on Kratos and all that, and I said, this is probably the PlayStation Pro. I said to myself, I don't think the Pro is that expensive. So
yeah,
kind of rethinking on that. Now I'm looking at this game and saying to myself, if I can play God of War, like that game can make me buy a Pro. If it looks that different from the original one, definitely that game.
Right.
But I answered Chariot Man's question in the comment section. I don't think the One X is going to do better. Is going to do that well, because what needs to happen is, in order for it to do that well versus the PlayStation Pro, is that developers have to make the game look better on the X than the PlayStation Pro. Because if we're doing third-party games, if it's going to look very similar on the PlayStation Pro when it does on the X, what's the point of spending an extra $100?
Yeah.
What's the point?
That's
And
my
so,
point. Like, oh, go ahead.
yeah, my last point, I'm saying to move on. I was talking. Well, I wasn't talking, but I was reading quotes by Matt, the head gameplay designer for Madden, and he was at E3 at um, they were playing Madden on the Xbox X, One X, right? And someone on Twitter was asking him, what improvements is the PlayStation Pro is going to get, and he came out and said that the PlayStation Pro version is pretty much going to look the same as the Xbox X version. And so if these game companies are treating the Xbox X with all that power, and treating it like the Pro, then there's no true selling point for the X, except for first party games.
Right, and that's my point. And
We sure are
since
not.
Microsoft, yeah, right there you go. Did you just hit it? Microsoft doesn't have the first party titles at this moment that's really going to warrant you running out and buying an Xbox. Sony has the titles that will make you interested if you got the TV for the Pro. Like K-Bomb said, God of War is definitely running on the Pro. It's not running on the original PlayStation. And all the other games like Horizon and all those games are being showcased on the Pro. The sad thing is nothing Microsoft showed outside of Forza, which you got to be into Forza to care. None of those other games will make you care. And a game like Super Lucky Tales, I don't care if that game in 4K. I can play that game on the Xbox OG and be fine. Xbox One original be fine because of the type of game it is. So it's going to be colorful and nice looking on that system anyway. So I don't think the X is going to fare well. Like I said, the X needed a game that's exclusive to the system that proves its power and capability from the gate. That's what's going to push the X, and Microsoft didn't do that. So they're going to have a hard time convincing folks to go out and spend $500 on the X. I just think the pricing was wrong and everything. But we ain't here to talk about that. Unless y'all somebody else want to say something.
Well, I'll say the one thing to close it off is that they better have some type of event, this fall like Sony did last year, where they just come out and drop a whole bunch of bombs of first-party titles that they didn't talk about at E3. Otherwise, it's a superfluous device.
Yeah, agreed. So we leave that on that. So let's hit this last topic, man. Be real quick. We all predicted. Well, I think D2K might have been the only one that maybe him and Keith Norris might have said they think it's going to happen. So the Super NES Mini is a legit. It's real. It wasn't fake. It was real. I thought it wasn't. I thought Nintendo wouldn't waste their time doing it, but they are. So real quickly, I'm gonna ask two questions. Y'all answer them, however y'all want, but let's be quick about it because I don't want to be too much longer. First of all, are you interested? And is the timing right? D2K.
No and no.
Okay. And can you explain why real quick?
Well, no, because I already have all the SNES games, and no, because people still want the NES Mini, and you're kind of patronizing them by coming out with the SNES Mini. People are saying, "Oh, I'm hyped about this," but they still salty that the regular NES Mini is gone. So, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they could have waited on this. They could have just came out with more NES Minis and made a lot of money off of that. They came out with this holiday season and made a ton of money off of it then, instead of canning the NES Mini so quickly and then going straight to SNES Mini. And then next year, around this time, you could have came out with the N64 Mini or whatever else you're going to do. But, Nintendo just does stupid stuff for the sake of doing stupid stuff. They just want to be different for the sake of being different. Like I said, don't care, not interested. Move on.
Okay, K-Bomb.
So I think I think it's the right time, even though I think they could have waited. That's especially knowing that people still wanted the NES version. You know, so they definitely could have waited, but you know, I still think it's the right time for them to release something like this because you still have all the excitement from the NES. But the other question too, am I going to get it? Or should, why?
Are you interested? I said, are you
interested? Sorry, am I interested? No, why? I've been playing emulators on. You can play emulators on anything now. Why am I spending money for this limited game that can only play certain amount of games when I can play every single Super NES game out there? I don't understand. If I really wanted to play it that bad, I can pop up the emulator and play it.
Now, what? And I will say that the game selection for the SNES Mini is much better than the NES Classic was. I mean, I didn't see one whack game on that whole list. Everything was like, yeah. Hey, yeah. You know, it was every single game on there is a game that I used to play, religiously when I had the NES. So, you know, they definitely got it right there. But again, I already got this. And I'd have to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm not interested. I feel like Nintendo. I'm not interested. Let me say that. I don't plan on getting it. I feel like these games could be in the eShop of the Switch and do and bowl well for that platform too. I don't know. Right now, I'm on the Switch.
But you know what? And if that's the case, if they're going to be doing this, then when they do finally get the virtual console up, there better not be nary NES or SNES game on that virtual console. It better start from the N64 to the GameCube to the Wii to the Wii U. That's what the virtual console needs to be for the Switch.
Yeah, I'm just, to me, I feel like
matter of fact, just start from the GameCube. Start with the GameCube. The first games available on Virtual Console for the Switch should be GameCube games. Period. Then you go to the Wii, right, and then to the Wii U.
Right. Now, I would say this. It is sold out. I did know that, but I'm being reminded in the comment section. It's already sold out, which I'm not surprised because, you know, what happened with the NES. People want, the folks who are collectors and who want that are going to get it. But I was going to get the NES. But that was before the Switch. And had the Switch not been here, I might have been interested in the Super NES Mini or the NES Mini. But post-Switch, I don't care. I'll put this on my Switch, do what Neo Geo's doing, and put these games in the eShop and let me buy these games for my Switch in the eShop for $4.99 or $5.99. And I can buy the games that I want. I'll buy Super Punch-Out, put it in the eShop. I would buy it. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm not going out and spending $80 on a Super NES Mini. I think for me, the interest left once the Switch came out. I didn't care about the NES after the Switch came out. I don't care about the Super NES, and I just don't. So for me, I don't care. So that's my answer for it. But to those who want it, go get it, enjoy it, spend your money on it, however, whatever. But for me, it's Switch. And when it comes to Nintendo, if it ain't something new that's more capable than the Switch, it's just a Switch for me. So that's where I'm at with it. I don't want the Mini. I'm done with buying Nintendo stuff just to buy it. I'm not doing that. If you wanted me to buy your game, put it on the Switch. That's how I feel about it. So no, I don't give a care about Star Fox 2. Sorry. I don't care about. I'm not going to stay on that long enough to care. I really don't. Give me Star Fox 64. Yeah, you guys, I'll get that in the eShop. But I'm not buying Super NES. I'm with D2K. Give me all them N64 GameCube games, and then I'm with you. And make sure you bring back Def Jam Vendetta and all that stuff too. I'm with you if you get that stuff.
Well, if they start off with the N64 and they give me all the AKI Aztec wrestling games starting from WCW versus NWO World Tour, Revenge, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, Def Jam Vendetta. Give me all of that. Yeah, exactly.
Put that all online. Dude, I'm there day one. But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on that Super NES mini. I don't care. Anybody else before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, Nintendo make so much money on nostalgia. Good Lord. They are swimming in nostalgia dollars. I mean, people keep buying the same game. I'm just okay, man. I'm just saying. All right, I'm done.
No, go finish your point. That was an accident on my end.
No, man, I'm just saying.
Finish what you're saying. Right?
I mean, it's the same game. People keep playing it, buying it. The same.
Okay. I gotta bring this up. Sorry, Kate, but I ain't mean to interrupt you. You right. Go on, finish your point. Then I'll bring it up.
That's it.
Man, D2K. I didn't see it. I just saw the highlights. Did y'all see Lamar Ball on WWE?
I didn't. I don't think I watched it. I watched some of the segment, and then he started, and I just turned it off. I couldn't.
I couldn't do it.
Man.
I couldn't do it. I turned it off.
I couldn't do it.
It was such a fail, man.
I mean, you know. Be perfectly honest with you, he has the mentality to make it as a wrestler. I mean, he kind of has that loud, rambunctious, attitude that he probably would have been a good wrestler like in the 70s and 80s. He, the whole thing was that I guess they were in Los Angeles or something. I don't know for Raw, which is the reason why they were there. And plus, it was a ratings grab from them because ratings for Raw have been terrible for the past couple of weeks because the show has been terrible because the product has been terrible. So they say, well, let's take a controversial guy that just happens to be nearby and put him on TV for no reason at all. People who have no idea who he is. And then, and his son basically dropped an M-bomb and then everybody starts tripping over that. So,
he did. I didn't know that. I haven't.
Well, I mean, at some point, because he took his shirt off, and I guess he was getting ready to fight the Miz or whatever, and I guess his son LaMelo said the comment, "Beat that N-word, ASS." And everybody started tripping about it, and WWE had to release it.
That's a bad moment, man.
They had to release a statement saying that his comments do not reflect the world of wrestling entertainment, blah blah blah, and whatever. Then people like I said to people who already know who he is, didn't care, and people who didn't know who he was didn't care either. So don't even make that out to be a thing. He got excited, leave it alone, move on.
Yeah, I guess, man.
And I agree with Cornelius. He was in pretty good shape though. I mean, he's thin. I mean, he's not bulky, but he was in pretty good shape, to be as old as he is. So I'm like, you might see him show up at a WrestleMania or something. You never know. Just because Vince like to do crazy stuff,
Right. Well, anyway, man, that was the podcast for tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I think we covered a lot. And we're going to do more of this, covering one game, kind of break it down, giving our thoughts on it. I think the next one we're going to do is our thoughts
another Sony title. Another Sony title. Yay!
We're gonna do a Sony title, but I want to talk about something that we ain't really ever dove into on this podcast. I want to talk about Metroid Prime, man, and the possibilities of Metroid Prime 4, and looking at what the other three have done and what could possibly be done, especially the fact that it's not being made by Retro Studios. How is this game going to turn out? But that's for another podcast. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all sign out. Start with D2K.
It was a nice podcast. Had fun. You guys all take care, and I'll see you in the next podcast.
All right. Okay, Bob 20.
Autobots, roll out.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's me. I'm Optimus Prime.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this, man. We might be on Sunday with Jedi Knight. I see how that's going to play on my end. But till then, man, keep it gaming, keep it safe, and we'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.
Hey.